Fool, Lamu, such a shame. Had you but known the truth. You will not recreate this world. But your knowledge will serve. Its destruction is at hand. I, Lilith of the Kadishtu, shall return the world to its true form.
Adam did not eat the apple because he desired it. He ate it because it was forbidden. Now the apple has been set before all of you. Eat well, for just as your friends who became demons by reading books discovered, you will find no love from God.
Hello, Internet. I'm HamsterBomb.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Demonica, your Shin Megami Tensei Demon Compendium, where we look at the real-life lore that influenced the design behind the series Demons. Tonight, the moon is hidden in shadow. Kim, what religious, mythological, historical, fictional, cryptozoological character or concept will we be summoning tonight?
We're covering a big one tonight. We're talking about Lilith.
Oh boy, it's been my whole week. Just Lilith. Oh my goodness, there is so much to cover.
I'm burnt out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a little exhausted.
Burnt out.
We are recording this on time. I warned you last week we might not be able to do it, but Kim was pushing hard, saying she really wanted to do it, and honestly, I'm gonna feel a little relieved that we'll pass this demon and finally not have to research this one anymore, because oh my goodness, I think I have 12 pages just for me to get through.
You know, I would have just been better if we would have said the other week, like, without a doubt, we will be taking a week break.
But because I didn't say that, you were like, we gotta fight for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was done on time. Now, I had extra free time this week, so I was trying to get ahead, and Kim is giving me an evil eye right now because she did not.
It's every single one of my breaks at work, and then I was coming home and doing it, and then not getting housework done, so...
Yeah, we have been especially busy this week, and we're also about to get a lot busier. We might just be adopting some kittens, some strays, because I feel bad for them that they're going to be living out there in the cold for the winter, and oh, our house is going to get really chaotic very soon. But in more related SMT news, there were 3 model kits that just got released, and they just arrived tonight. So I excitedly put together a Jack Frost while waiting for Kim to get ready for this episode. They also made a Mothman, Decarabia, and a Demonijo, which now we have a little mascot for our podcast that can sit up next to us on my desk while we record. So I think that's nice.
But you can't see it, so it's fine.
Oh, it's okay. You can all imagine him sitting right next to us, and he's just...
We almost thought tonight's episode was just going to be the sounds of us putting together models while you listen.
A little plastic snipping together while Kim makes a Mothman. Now, with that out of the way, what do we first think of when we hear the name Lilith?
Girl boss.
What does that mean?
It means you're a girl boss. You do things your own way, and you don't care what anybody else thinks, and you're good at it.
Why, is this a familiar name that people are naming a certain generation of stubborn females that I don't...
Independent women, yes. Have you never heard of the term girl boss before?
I know I've heard of the term. I'm saying I've never heard of anyone named Lilith.
That's not what I meant.
That's what I interpreted it as. Oh,
no.
So you're saying knowing the character...
Lilith is a girl boss.
Oh, okay. I was confused. No, I think of my sister's cat. But no, I do vaguely know her from religious training and stuff, the boot camps I had to go through as the temptress to Adam, though she wasn't ever listed by name, so that's another thing, but
the thing is, like, your boot camps would never have even really mentioned her.
No, but I paid attention, and I asked a lot of questions, and sometimes, like, reading between the lines is trying to figure out stuff, and I would have papers to write, and, you know, it happens. So, I know that, according to the Bible, God made woman alongside Adam, and afterwards, Adam was so lonely that God removed one of his ribs to make Eve. So he had a first wife, got bored of her, and then fell in love with a piece of himself. The narcissistic jerk.
No, it is so much better than that.
Okay, well, that's what the Bible says.
Well, Yeah. Okay, we'll get to it.
I know, we're not just
We'll get
looking
to
at
it
the
3
Bible.
hours from now. I don't know.
Kim is going to be covering a lot more than what I am aware of, because if you just read the Bible, Lilith by name does not appear as far as I'm aware. So it's just the fact that God created man and woman, and then later he's like, oh, I need to create woman. It's like he retconned himself in the very beginning of Genesis. That book is so silly. Anyway, let's talk about Lilith as she appears in Shin Megami Tensei. Because of the quotes directly from Lilith used in the introduction, we didn't get to hear her in-game lore description, which reads as follows.
Said to have been Adam's first wife. Refusing to obey him, she left Eden and became a demon of the night. Though there are several theories regarding her disobedience, she is often regarded as a symbol of infidelity. Some theories suggest she was originally the mother goddess of Babylonia. In the Zohar, a Jewish spiritual text, she is listed as the first of 4 female demons, a seducer of men, killer of infants, and first consort of Samael.
Oof, that was a long one.
Lots of baby eating.
Yeah, lots of baby eating. They kept modifying this script as time went on, and they added that little bit about the Kadishtu for Shin Megami Tensei 5 because it was new and relevant. So if you go to some of her older entries, it's not so long. But still, we got a lot of information on Lilith there that I'm sure Kim will elaborate on in her segment. Yes.
I think I hit on all of those things. We'll
That's
talk
good.
about all of those things, yeah.
Good, because I'll have questions, as I always do.
Yep, I will do my best to answer them.
You know, another thing about Lilith before I get back to my script, we actually just made a perler of Lilith that is not quite at the ironing and uploading stage yet. I know there's a lot of demons that we have made for SMT that we haven't uploaded on Etsy as of yet, and you might be eager to see what other kind of fun stuff that we have in there, but there is a Lilith that is coming, and it's going to be going up on my wall first before you ever get a chance to purchase it, just saying. I have a huge collection of SMT demons with light-up eyes and whatnot that I want to display all together, and Lilith does not have light-up eyes. I believe her flashing sprite in SMT1 is a hair-blowing animation, so Lucifer, Cerberus, and Yamato no Orochi all have lighting up eyes, which is fun. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. So Lilith is more of a character than a demon in the series. Sure, she's a demon, of course, but more importantly, she's used as a major plot-driving character that serves a deeper purpose each game rather than what most demons get. She has multiple designs as she's been around since the Super Famicom. Well, technically her origin in the series comes from a set of spin-off novels called New Digital Devil Story, but I haven't read those. They're kind of not in English.
And terrible. Didn't someone say those are terrible?
No, somebody said that the original novels that spawned Megami Tensei are kind of not great.
Spicy?
Not
okay,
like...
well, I watched that anime, and I would assumed it was going to be spicy.
The anime we watched was inspired by those original novels, yes. I don't want to insult something I haven't read. I would just be parroting what somebody else said about them. I just haven't heard the best things. Though there is a fan translation of those original novels if you're willing to only read it all on your phone, which so far I haven't had that kind of tenacity. If it was in print, I would totally read it. But, yeah.
You read books all the time on your phone.
I read manga on my phone and comics. Reading text on there, like, that long, I don't want to stare at a screen
I read
long.
webtoons.
So to keep things relatively simple, I'm only going to cover instances of Lilith in games that I have completed, which is still a lot. Today we're going to look at her inclusion in SMT1, SMT4, and SMT5 Vengeance, where she has major story roles.
Oh, thank goodness.
Just note that there is actually more than this, but this episode would have been even longer if I went through every single instance of this character ever. So let's talk about her design first. Lilith's original look depicts her as a nude woman wrapped in a silver scaly ribbon, and most notably, a large snake. She is kneeling in a seductive pose and holding up the snake with one hand. Something unique to this design of Lilith is the inclusion of makeup and jewelry alongside her long black hair. She also has clear nipples, something that was heavily censored back then and still is today. Her sprite in SMT1, however, removes the nipples and has Lilith standing instead. Or her arm is stretched out, and what looks like it could be a breast is actually the other side of the arm, like the shoulder. I'm not entirely sure if she's like twisted completely and the snake is covering her, or she is facing forward and the arm is out. I don't know.
didn't pay that much attention to that, so...
Well, I made the sprite out of perlers, and so, like, staring at it for a long time, my mind kind of flipped between the two, like, positive and negative space, and I was like, I can't really... I don't know how to read this. So I'm not entirely sure how they illustrated it. They could have tried. Like, they didn't shy away from putting nipples on sprites in that game anyway, so I would be shocked if they suddenly did on Lilith. Now, something else important about this design that is going to become a bit of a mainstay staple from here on is something the men probably noticed last. Lilith has web-like 3-fingered hands and 3-toed feet. I always thought this was a bizarre design choice before I heard where it actually comes from. Kim, it is already time for your quiz question.
Man, I don't know where this comes from.
Yeah, this is the only thing I knew I could catch you with. Lilith's 3-fingered grip is directly inspired by what? A, a Renaissance painting depicting her. B, a reptilian anime seductress. Or C, a 90s erotic horror film.
Gonna go with C.
C is the right answer.
Because that game does that crap.
Yeah, in the bizarre film Night Angel, Lilith appears as the main antagonist, tempting and attacking men like a succubus. The acting is comically poor from what I gathered watching a trailer. And anyway, just like with Baphomet, Lilith takes her design inspiration from a relevant film of the time depicting her character, rather than from the lore itself. How do you feel about them doing that now a second time after Baphomet?
I mean, that's just kind of, with those older games, I feel like that's just how it's going to be. But once we get to her Vengeance redesign, I'm liking that better now knowing the lore.
Oh, sure.
So,
yeah.
like...
If you're gonna... Oh, no, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself.
Right,
That's
but
my
I'm
favorite
saying, like,
design
that's
for Lilith
not,
as well.
That's not inspired by the same... So you can see where they're, like, transitioning demons out of that kind of...
Yeah. We talked about the idea of a tulpa before, and people all imagining a demon into being, and its power is based on how people imagine it. I can't imagine too many people watching this erotic horror film from the 90s. It would have just come out. I believe it would have been 2 years old by the time Shin Megami Tensei released.
Fresh in their minds. They were working on it when the movie came out.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's like X-rated or anything. I don't think so, but it is definitely horny, if you can imagine.
Spicy.
Yeah, it's spicy, all right.
We're talking a lot of spicy things. Lilith is known for being spicy. That's kind of her thing.
Lilith in Night Angel has 3 fingers when in her demonic form, and is wrapped in a spiraling silver scale pattern around her body, mostly to cover her privates. Something that did not concern Atlas making SMT, because titties. Jumping ahead a bit, let's look at her design from Soul Hackers. This design looks very similar to what we have just discussed. Lilith is now squatting in a new seductive pose, eyeing the camera. Or she is pooping in the woods. One or the other.
Yeah, I figured you would say that.
Why? She looks like she's popping a squat and dropping some stinky ploppers.
Words you can't say around our toddler anymore.
No, I said it once and now that's how she describes pooping. Gotta drop some stinky ploppers. Lilith's hair is now a dark purple rather than black, and she still wears jewelry and makeup, but this time the snake doesn't need to be held up. Instead, she hangs her arms forward in an attempt to indirectly cover her nipples. This change might be the only reason this design exists at all. Yes, she still has 3 fingers and toes. Moving on to SMT3, and also seen in the updated artwork for SMT1 when ported to PlayStation, we have Lilith's more recognizable modern design. Now fully standing and draping a huge snake around herself, Lilith has stark white skin and short black hair. Her bangs are swept upwards almost like a pompadour. Her eyes are bright yellow and her jewelry is now completely gone. You could say she has white makeup over her entire body outside of the scaly silver wrap that still covers her from head to toe. And yes, her fingers and toes are still 3 digits each. The pattern on the ribbon and snake are now clearly the same, so it can now be assumed that she is wrapped in a shed skin. This could be a thing in Night Angel, but I couldn't tell from what I've seen. Also, it could have been a thing from the very beginning, but I couldn't really tell. And honestly, as I was writing my script, I went, oh my god, it's a shed skin. I should fix my script and write this, but the script I already knew was going to be so flippin' long that I didn't care. So I'm sorry, it's probably a shed skin.
Do you know how many times I had to go back and adjust my script? It's constant.
I did too.
I'm so worried that things are just mixed up and out of order now because of how many times I had to go back and I'd be like, no, that's more relevant to this, not this. So I'm going to apologize now if mine seems more like a hodgepodge. I did my best.
I'll try and keep you on track. I'm the voice of the audience asking you the questions. So hopefully I don't sound like a maniac and I ask appropriate questions.
Right. Well,
not, is she pooping in the woods, and is that lore specific?
Does she poop?
Does she poop in the woods? When Lilith poops in the woods, is anyone around to smell it? Does it make a sense?
We're asking the important questions here.
Yeah. Anyway, Lilith now also has a black ankle cuff on one leg that I can't explain. And finally, the snake draping over her just so happens to cover up all the naughty bits that would change the game's rating now that the ESRB and Zero exist. We're now at the point that I'm a little confused, like why she is still doing the three-finger, three-toed Night Angel references when Baphomet clearly just went straight on to being what Baphomet looks like instead of being from that film. And Lilith is sticking to this for the most part. Like, even her most recent design, which I'm about to cover in Persona 5X, she's going back to this design again. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like they nailed their character and they want to stick to this character, and I'm a little disappointed in that. I kind of wish they'd stuck with the Vengeance one because it's so elaborate.
Yeah, but Persona 5X is more playing off of what the demons looked like in Persona 5.
To be fair, though, she appeared in original SMT5 and looked like the SMT3 design that we just talked about.
Oh, really?
So if you're playing SMT5, the base game, this is what Lilith looks like. She has no story inclusion at all. She is just a demon. You confuse her, and that's what she looks like. If you play Vengeance, she has a completely different look, and now she's in the story, and we're going to talk about it in that one.
Since I am playing
Canon of Creation on Vengeance, is
correct.
That what you're going to ask?
Yes. So if I made Lilith,
you will not encounter Lilith at all.
Right.
That's a good question. It is not in my script.
No, I know that, but I'm saying if I fuse her,
you can't.
Oh, so it won't let me
she
fuse
is
her either.
Gone.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing that is missing out of playing Vengeance. I wouldn't recommend playing the original version. There's so many great quality of life changes that they did into the Vengeance version. If you have the choice of which one to play Vengeance. However, you are going to miss out on Lilith specifically if you play Creation first, and personally, I recommend you play Creation first anyway, because the new story kind of hinges on you already knowing the base story. So, if you're in it for the story, then I would do that first, and New Game Plus your way through Vengeance, but other way around, if you're just in it for the Kadishtu, and you want to see what the four horny women are all about, then...
I just really like saying the name Kadishtu.
Yeah. We will say Kadishtu many times in this.
Well, I'm going to be saying a lot of demon names. There's a lot.
Yeah, you were throwing me off earlier off camera. You were saying, how is Lamia even connected to this? Like, you gotta be kidding me.
I left that out of the script because I didn't research it, and I was just like, we'll get to that when we get to Lamia,
Yeah, she told me she got to a point that this Lilith script was going to take so long that she was just, like, cutting it off and saying, never mind, let's just move on.
I got the gist of it and the overarching themes.
That's all we need.
She's a sexy lady.
And a girl boss, as the kids say.
You're so old.
Get off my lawn. From here, anyway, from the SMT3, we're going back to my script here. We're transitioning, okay? From here, it makes the most sense to jump forward to Persona 5X and skip over some other notable designs. Primarily because the SMT3 design is used as a base, or technically the PlayStation one, however you want to look at it. Anyway, Lilith looks almost identical in pose and attributes, but got a light sensor for the horny countries. Her upper thigh and chest are now covered in a black patterned skin-tight outfit akin to the underside of a snake. Though that's a ridiculous change because she didn't show anything anyway with the snake and shed skin blocking everything, I kind of think the extra black helps the overall contrast of the design and brings it together a little more. Like, I think it kind of looks a little better.
I don't know. I really just can't forgive that they put pants on Hecatoncheires.
Oh, yeah, these sensors are terrible. Don't get me wrong. But I think this one kind of makes Lilith look a little bit better. She wasn't showing anything anyway.
I know, but just knowing Lilith, I just know she wants to be naked.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't match her character. But, like, you could argue she still is naked, because, like I said, it's like the underside of a snake, the patterning on it, so that could just be,
She wasn't showing anything.
She's serpentine. I know, she wasn't showing anything. Like, you know what they did to freaking Succubus? They were like, oh no, this one's clearly supposed to be erotic. She can only show skin on her face, and everything else is covered. So taking a step backwards now to the two main exceptions to Lilith's consistent design, let's analyze her look in SMT4. This time we get a radically different, biblically accurate abomination style. The only recognizable human parts are her exposed chest to her lower waist and some of her face. Both are stark white. One eye is covered with a new glowing green monstrous eye, and the mouth opens in a nightmarish red maw of golden fangs. The rest of Lilith is an asymmetrical assortment of contorted black tendrils and spiked wings. Her arms have thorned claws, as do her legs, if I can call them legs. There's also a floating blue orb resting between her headdress of black wing thorns. Though she now has a long thorny tail, this is the only Lilith design to not feature a snake. Outside of one really weird exception, but we'll talk about that later. It's hard to make heads or tails of this freaky design, but it fits right into the absurd Atlas design style of SMT4. She's still black and white with yellow eyes, but other than that, this looks nothing like the Lilith we know, and instead better resembles a frightening fallen angel monstrosity. It is amazing. Technically speaking, this is only the demon form of Lilith in 4. She actually looks like an ordinary, attractive, black-haired woman in her human form. She only transforms for combat when necessary. This is also true of how she appears in SMT1 when not transformed as a demon. In both of these instances of masquerading as a human, Lilith goes by the name of Yuriko. Is there any significance to the name Yuriko in lore? Did that come up at all, Kim?
No, because that's a Japanese name.
Sure, but, like, they consistently use this name, and I wonder, like, maybe it means something? Fact check time!
So, what I see on here, on the internets, is that Yuriko means lily child, or child of the lily, which I guess is kind of like another way of saying Lilith. So maybe it's almost like the Japanese name version of Lilith.
Like they were trying to make, like, it could be a pun in Japanese.
I don't know if
or
it's
something.
a pun or more of like a play on. What do they call that? Like when they use certain symbols to make like your name.
Yeah,
and
right.
So maybe those words,
like the characters are like looking like how in English we get Louis Cypher instead of Lucifer as kind of like a joke.
Yeah.
And I kind of now am wondering what they did in Japanese, but it was probably something like this, where this is just kind of lost in translation, Yuriko and Lilith being the same thing.
Maybe it's that kind of thing.
Maybe. I was hoping you were going to say Child of the Night because that was in her lore description.
I mean, that would make sense.
That would be perfect. But yeah, once again, that's a lost in translation thing and wouldn't make sense over there, probably. Anyway, from here, Lilith appeared with her traditional SMT3 design in SMT5, but for Vengeance, she got a redesign and a significant role in the new story campaign. She was actually the only demon you couldn't carry over from 5 to Vengeance because of this new design shift. So, if you played SMT5 before Vengeance came out like I did, you had the ability to transfer 3 demons, the ones who happened to be in your party at the time, over into Vengeance and put them in your Compendium. Mm-hmm. Except Lilith. So, we all kind of knew Lilith was going to have some enormous change.
I mean, when doesn't she?
Yeah, and then it turned out Lilith, her design was completely different when we realized that this new demon on the cover art is Lilith. And yeah, she is shifting. Now, Lilith is the leader of the Kadishtu, a group of 4 female demons, the 4 mistresses of Samael, intent on gathering Magatsuhi to resurrect their god Tiamat. The other members are all new demons, Nama, Asheth, and Agrit. Because each one of the group has a new design, it only made sense to give Lilith a matching design to clearly reflect the others' style as their leader. It would have looked really weird, admittedly, if they had the designs for Agrit, Asheth, and Nama that they have now, and then just slapped old Lilith in the middle of that.
Yeah. Well, also, I feel like this is going to sound bad, but I think it's just because of the era that she was designed in. Feel like she would look like this, like, 40-year-old woman compared to the other 3 who appear younger almost in design, you know?
She also doesn't have huge knockers.
Oh, yeah, we should fix that.
Yeah, she's got huge, jiggly, slow-motion floating knockers is what she's got now, in body paint. That's another big thing that Kiddish do
I'm going
have.
to say it wrong. Nama.
Nama.
Yeah, she's a little much.
Oh, yes, she is. Her capitulate to pleasure attack? Oh, my God.
You were fighting her for, like, the first time, and our daughter's in the room, and I'm like, here, let's look over this way.
Yeah, I didn't expect her to play with herself.
She just did this. Let's go to another room.
We can cover Nama later.
Okay, well, our toddler likes watching the game. She understands they're monsters and demons.
Yes, and she likes watching the blue hair guy beat up the monsters.
Yes.
Especially on New Game Plus when he'll never lose. That's a safety net that she enjoys. Lilith once again has stark white skin, now with an assortment of rounded black concave holes scattered around her body. She's also growing some sort of sharp ridges out of her elbows and knees, the weirdest addition, if you ask me.
That's probably the part of it that I like the least.
Me too. If you could just fix one thing about it, I would take that off. But I know they want her to look more like a monster and not just like a naked woman with a snake. But
that's literally every Renaissance picture of Lilith.
That's Lilith, though. Yeah, I know.
It's like
that's her original design,
picture.
and her original design is probably the most lore accurate there is. The one that I described, where it's just a naked woman with some. Yeah. Now, except for the 3-finger thing, that was just from a
actually,
weird
from my standpoint,
movie.
knowing what I know now, I think her most recent in Vengeance is the most lore accurate to the original. Yeah.
I like that then, because it's got a lot going for it, and I will keep telling you about it. Anyway, her skin now has some sort of lines like a circuit board or cybernetic armor for some reason. It doesn't look like a snake. It looks like there's lines going to it, like a motherboard.
I don't know. Well, I feel like all of the Kaddish do kind of have like that little bit of an underlying design with it to like tie them all together.
Yeah, they were clearly all designed at the same time by the same person.
Yeah.
Or team. And unfortunately, like I've mentioned before, I would like to know this kind of stuff, but I don't. There's a language barrier. She finally has 5-fingered hands and 5-toed feet for the first time, but each one turns into a gray claw of sorts. She's kind of like got very vicious looking hands and feet. Her chest and shoulders are tattooed with what appear to be dark-setting suns on her breasts and black wings on her shoulders. Funnily enough, she has actual black angel wings hanging down behind her back, as well as some stray feathers fanning out above her shoulders like the downy rim of a coat. Her eyes are pale yellow, and her long wavy hair is now a light pink. This color complements her new red, scaly serpent that floats around her, as she herself levitates midair. There are also some minor details like silver spikes on the heels and knees, a coiled black serpentine headpiece, and a black and gold lily she holds in her left hand. It's definitely a busy design when compared to the past iterations, but I much prefer it this way, both as the leader of the Kadishtu as well as Lilith as a demon. Now finally onto the lesser-known designs. Lilith briefly appears in another Bible as a character, so she has a portrait showing her in a close-up, and her hair is tall and wavy, and her eyes are super anime. Unfortunately, there is no rest of the body that I could find a sprite of, so no cute art today. In the Sega CD version of SMT1, she got unique character portraits as well. In both, we see her chest up with a large red snake coiled around her body ready to strike the viewer. In one shot, she has her eyes closed, and in the other, she holds out her 3-fingered hand towards us. Technically, she also has several more Sega CD portraits as Yuriko and her alter ego, Rei. Don't worry about it, I will explain it later.
I'm just like, we're not even to the story parts yet, alright.
Yeah, it's all combined, I'm telling you. Now let's end on the weirdest sprite for Lilith I came across. In Majin Tensei 2 Spiral Nemesis, Lilith has purple skin, 2 green squiggly antlers, yes, antlers, and folds herself in a tight embrace with her giant bat wings. So apparently she's a vampire. That's just Lilith's game appearances.
Correct.
In promotional art, she's also all over the place, from SMT 3 and 4 and 5 especially. Atlas even did a professional cosplay event commissioning Lilith to be brought to life by multiple cosplayers, alongside the rest of the Kadishtu for 5 Vengeance. I can't imagine this helped convince someone to buy the game, but I won't argue with the influence of leaning into sex appeal for marketing.
You keep saying the 3-finger thing, and it just keeps making me think she's a frog for some reason. reason.
She looks like a reptilian creature. It's weird. Like, she's got scaly skin because of
so
the
strange.
serpent thing wrapped around her, and then she's got 3 fingers, 3 toes.
Lizard.
Nobody's seen Night Angel, Like, nobody. I don't know. Has anyone listening to this actually seen the film Night Angel before I brought it up and knew the answer to that question? Or even knew that it was the answer to that question?
It is a
Good
very
Lord.
obscure answer.
Yeah. Luckily, you knew enough about the Renaissance art that I assumed you would at least know that that was probably a fake one.
She's just a naked lady holding a snake in all of them. Mm-hmm. I don't even think I talk about her art in mine, because she's just a naked lady holding a snake.
We're finally done with the design segment. We did it, guys. It's only been 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Finally, let's move on to talk about mechanics. Lilith is almost always a member of the Night Race, with an alignment of either neutral or chaos. Usually chaos.
Chaos. And night. Yeah, all those things are correct.
Her best stat is almost always magic, with a weird exception in the first game where it is actually strength, believe it or not. Maybe her snake friend is doing all the heavy lifting.
No,
I
I
have
can
no
see
idea.
Lilith punching somebody. That sounds good.
Her stats are super weird in that game. So she's a very late game boss, and I'm pretty sure she just blocks absolutely every element and does something funny with gun and bullet types too. So you need to physical attack her, basically. And she's punching you back. So it's just this fist fight at the very end of the game with this woman who will get to the story. But you just have this slapping contest because she can't have you, so nobody will kind of thing.
Oh, boy.
It's bad. No, it's great, but it's bad.
Lilith can have anybody she wants to. That's a lie.
Apparently not you. Now, I have to say that Lilith probably has the most ridiculous lack of consistency I have seen in this series yet when it comes to weaknesses and resistances. In one game, she's weak to something, say Force, for instance, in SMT5. Then in her next appearance, in Vengeance, she suddenly drains it. Each instance of Lilith I see feels like I'm looking at a dartboard for weaknesses and resistances. So good luck figuring out what move to use in that boss fight you're stuck in. It is a total crapshoot. I have no idea what to tell you. Similarly, her attacks are just as all over the place based on what she happens to be resisting at the current moment. However, there is some correlation with her moves. Lilith tends to have some way to either inflict sleep or charm, uses strong magic attacks, and likely has some form of almighty attacks. She also tends to know some stat-altering moves like Luster Candy or Dekunda.
That all checks out, I feel like. Nothing terribly offensive there.
In Vengeance, she gets the unique attack called Mother Earth, which nulls one physical attack for all allies for 1 turn, and also acts as a Dekunda. However useful it is, you'll likely instead remember it for its insatiably horny animation, where Lilith forms a magic orb over her head before slamming it down into the ground, taking an obvious sexual pose as she does so. She then leans back and calls out as the ground beneath her pulses out a wave of energy. I think the animators just wanted to animate her doing cowgirl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. But also, you can null physical and Dekunda in 1 turn. Because that's why you're casting it.
So can you ever actually use Lilith in SMT Vengeance?
Oh yeah, you could use everything in SMT Vengeance. You fight it as a boss or a super boss, you can put it on your team.
I just didn't know if she was like so in game you would never get that chance to make her as a demon.
Fortunately, absolutely everything you can make on your team. Even the end game super bosses like Satan, Masakato, Shiva, they can
And
all be...
it doesn't
and
have
the
to
Demi-Fiend.
It doesn't have to be New Game Plus.
Nope. No, you will just get her
That
normally.
was stupid with Royal. I'm just saying.
That was stupid with Royal. Now, to fight certain super bosses, you need to be on New Game Plus. Like, if you want to fight
fine.
Satan at all, you need to be on New Game Plus.
But as long as I confuse him, I don't care.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, yeah. I wasn't feeling done with that game until I had a compendium of every single demon, requiring me to do multiple New Game Cycle pluses. New Game Plus Cycle, oh my goodness. Ooh, a lot of talking in this episode.
After being sick all week.
Yeah, today's my first day where I feel like I have my voice back, and we spent a lot of time outside burning leaves, so I was really playing with fire, quite literally.
That was your fault.
Yes. Anyway, Lilith is a special fusion in SMT5 Vengeance. I should have just read the next sentence for you.
Okay, well that's what I wanted to know.
Requiring Cherub, Sybil, Lamia, and Lilim. Throughout the games, whether you try to negotiate with her or encounter her in the story, Lilith is very matter-of-fact. She just tells you like it is, whether that information is beneficial to you or harmful. She likes to stir up trouble, but is also passionately dedicated. Now let's talk about some of that dedication. In SMT1, it is to the protagonist. It is finally story time.
Okay, good.
Like all good stories, SMT1 begins with a naked woman. During a dream sequence where you're indirectly meeting your future party and assigning their stats, you'll also meet a bathing woman who promises to be your loyal partner forever. After waking up and forgetting about this little encounter that you had a wet dream about, I guess, you emerge in the greater world of Tokyo where a zombie apocalypse, demon attacks, and political uprisings are all happening at the same time.
Yeah, I can't follow that game.
The game is insane. A part of this political group of psychos called the Ring of Gaia is a woman named Yuriko, who greatly resembles the woman of your dreams, except with, some clothes. The Ring of Gaia caught wind of a conspiracy by God and an incoming nuclear holocaust and took rash measures to lead a force towards retaliation. Fortunately, there is a resistance force led by a different woman who was named by the player in the intro, so for clarity, we will name her the heroine. Yuriko is actively seeking out the heroine for two reasons. Primarily, it's to put a stop to the resistance to the Army of Chaos, but secretly, it is also to eliminate who she believes to be the only threat in her way of romantically winning over the protagonist.
I was gonna say, she's probably the Megami getting Tensei.
The heroine is the Megami who is gonna get Tensei, yes.
Got it!
Yes, it's an apocalyptic love triangle between three people who don't even know each other yet. So trying to do the right thing, the protagonist saves the heroine from being captured by the Ring of Gaia right before her public execution. Reason being, you have some strange metaphysical connection to the heroine, so you continue to fight for her, and she does the same for you. But truthfully, there's an even sillier reason that you save her. To confuse the player, when you named the heroine in the beginning, the game also named another character the same name, who is now the law hero's girlfriend. So due to all the public attention the heroine is getting, you mistake her for his girlfriend when trying to hunt her down and make sure she's okay during all this, apocalyptical pandemonium. So you end up saving the real heroine on accident, mistaking her with someone unimportant to the plot.
Oh.
Yes, did you follow that?
Yeah, that was a little confusing. Like, I'm just feeling the meme with
it's
all
supposed
the
to
things,
be
all
yeah,
the lines.
Confusing. It's confusing in the game. They're like, oh, heroine? I'm just going to say heroine. Oh, yeah, my girlfriend heroine. I don't know where she is. I saw something on TV and they said her name. Clearly nobody else has that name. Because you're the one who named it as the player, so you assume that that's right.
Right. That's tricky, Atlas. That's
a
real
dirty
tricky.
trick. Yeah, and then they get you to go save this person you think is important to the plot, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. We were hunting down the wrong person. You're important to the plot. You eventually do find his girlfriend, and I think she dies, or becomes the wife of a demon later in the game or something like that. I don't know.
It's just chaos.
It's completely weird. I don't remember. There was so much to remember about that game, and I gotta play it again because it was so great. Anyway, long story short, Yuriko doesn't take too kindly to this.
That wasn't a short story.
Oh, we're not done.
I know, that's what I said.
We're not even close.
It's not a short story.
Anyway, Yuriko does not take kindly to this. She even claims that she would have left the heroine alone had you just chosen her as your partner instead. Yuriko then sends waves of demons your way, but after you defeat them, she admits she can't bring herself to harm you. It turns out that you resemble her former lover, Adam, implying you might be the reincarnation of him.
This chick does not like Adam. From everything I know, she does not like Adam.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I don't remember her actually explicitly saying Adam, but this is what the wikis all said, and I wasn't willing to play the game for a second time to validate and make sure, is that really what she said? Because
that's what we needed a week off for. You need to replay all of us.
That would be a great excuse, but I don't think I could beat it, you put another 80 hours into an RPG. Now, following this, I'm going to skip ahead a bit, so hold on to your pants. A real nuclear warhead is launched at Tokyo, completely destroying the city. However, the heroine, using her strange psychic powers, managed to transport you and the Law and Chaos hero, which are your other party members, into a mystical world called the Diamond Realm in order to allow you to survive the strike. She, however, dies doing this. Once you emerge into the ruined Tokyo, it has been approximately 40 years. The city is now completely overrun with powerful demons, and the three of you set off to explore the world and find the heroine, who telepathically tells you that she has been reincarnated and captured again.
Megami.
She's the Megami who got Tensei. On your journey, you meet up with Yuriko in Roppongi, who hasn't aged at all. You should probably be raising an eyebrow to this if you paid attention to how many years they said passed. She demands an item from you called the Gushing Jar in order to seal away the demon Belial.
That sounded naughty.
In context, it's not.
It sounded real naughty.
And Roppongi is the crazy place where Alice is having her undead fantasy.
Okay, but
Wonderland.
Gushing Jar, you can't tell me that that's okay anymore.
And the Red Baron and the Black Baron are the ones who are protecting her.
We're not talking about Alice.
Nybaros and Belial, and the only way to stop... Like, you get into a boss fight with Belial, and it is unwinnable unless you use the Gushing Jar as an item to capture him.
Stop saying Gushing
It's
Jar.
called the Gushing Jar!
Please move on.
Either you hand this over, this thing that I'm not allowed to name, or what happens is Lilith casts Shibaboo on your party and steals it anyway. So no matter what, you're going to lose it. In Ueno... Is it Ueno? Anyway, I'm not positive how to say the city's name. I'm that American dunce, I'm sorry. In Ueno... Ueno. It's only 4 letters and I can't say it. I'm such an idiot. You meet up with her again and her new partner, Louis Cypher.
Do you know that she's Lilith by this point? Or
No.
Are you still just
you still do not know that this is Lilith.
Oh, okay.
And I'm glad that you at least remember that I said her name is going to be Yuriko, because otherwise you'd be like, when does Lilith show up?
Yeah. As long as our listeners are listening.
Tentatively.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully they were also listening to the name Louis Cypher, which is
I don't think you have to.
Atlas's cute little pseudonym for Lucifer when he's masquerading in human form. Yuriko expresses her anguish over not being able to separate you from the heroine and win you over to the side of chaos. And so she reveals her true form as the demon Lilith, with the intent on killing you. Fortunately, she can't bring herself to go through with it again, and so she flees in despair. It's actually kind of sad. So sometime later, after the Law and Chaos Heroes both abandon you in order to follow their own paths, you'll discover the Chaos Hero has a new girlfriend, and you probably already see where this is going. Her name is Ray, supposedly. Fortunately, the heroine sticks with you no matter what path you choose, but if you're staying neutral or oppose them by being Law, you'll be forced to fight and kill your former friend and party member, the Chaos Hero. Ray is horrified how you could so coldly cut down your own friend and challenges you herself, revealing herself to be Lilith. Again. However, you overcome her strength and kill her as well, where she dies dejected and alone. If you instead sided with Chaos, you'll follow the pair deeper into the Basilica, the last bastion protecting Tokyo after God sent a massive flood to destroy the world, which, if you're keeping track, like, this is insane. I have lost count of the apocalypses by now. Anyway, Ray reveals herself to be Lilith and regrets that she couldn't be your partner and leaves the Chaos Hero to follow her own path. Regardless, you'll obtain the Gushing Jar, once again after Lilith is either killed or gives up on courting you. And that's her story in the first game. And due to how long that took, this is why we're only going to cover her involvement with 3 games. I hope it is clear now that Lilith is more of a central character than a simple demon. In many of the games, however, she is truly just a demon. But we're going to pass over them for the sake of making this episode slightly less obnoxiously long.
So, like, that's why you didn't even, when you were looking for more demons to fill your wall, like, she didn't even come up on sprite pages under demons. She was coming up under characters. So.
Well, she actually came up under bosses in the original one.
Okay.
Like, if you want the sprite of her demon form, it's bosses. But, like, all of the sprites of Ray and Yuriko, yeah, they're characters. She's just a character in the game.
Yeah.
And she's probably more so than any other demon that we would call, who would show up in our episodes.
Other than Louis Cypher?
More so than Louis Cypher. He only had that tiny little bit. And sure, he eventually reveals himself to be Lucifer and, he like flies off into the distance.
You fight Lucifer.
It's pretty cool.
Whatever.
I don't think you fight him in this game. You fight him in the next one, for sure. You fight a lot of crazy stuff in 2. You fight Yahweh.
Punch everything.
Oh, yeah. You punch Yahweh in the face. Because that's all he is. He's a face.
I don't know why. When you say he's a face, I imagine Andros, but like...
No, it's just like Andros.
Like the NES one.
Super Nintendo.
Oh, Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's polygons. I know what you're talking about. It's just a bunch of polygons.
That's
and it's
what
just
I
a
imagine.
Face. Well, that's actually closer because it's just a face. And N64, he has hands. And I think from then on, he has floating hands with him. And this Yahweh has no floating hands. Now, anyway, before we move on, it's kind of obvious, but there's going to be some story spoilers for understanding Lilith's character for the next 2 games, 4 and 5 Vengeance. I only say this because the plot twist in 4 is flippin' amazing, and Lilith plays a part in it. And I kind of have to tell you about it for, Lilith's story. So in SMT4, you, the Chaos Hero, and the Law Hero are samurai for a high-class religious kingdom. Though you can name yourself anything, your canon name is Flynn. The Chaos Hero is Walter, and the Law Hero is Jonathan. You're also joined by a heroine samurai named Isabeau. The 4 of you assist in hunting down a rogue character distributing some sort of evil, corrupting knowledge to the kingdom's people known as the Black Samurai. Turns out the people of the kingdom who speak to this Black Samurai are given books that transform them into demons upon reading them. Understandably a problem for the kingdom, you seek out this person and find them dressed in unusual gear not fitting the medieval attire of the times. Instead, they're wearing the industrial helmet and gear worn by the soldiers from Strange Journey, a Demonica suit with a black helmet. During Strange Journey, there were black Demonica suits worn by a secondary faction hoping to exploit the phenomenon for money. We are not getting into the story of Strange Journey right now. It's a lot, so...
I was a little worried here that we were going to just bury this lead, and now we're just diving into Strange Journey instead.
No, this is just a reference. I think it's there to throw you off. So the Black Samurai is likely instead wearing this not to canonize Strange Journey, but to confuse the people of the kingdom and the player at the same time, and also it just looks really cool.
Those outfits don't really look cool per se.
I don't know. They're really extra.
They remind me of like 80s sci-fi films.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to make like an 80s sci-fi thing. It's also revealed that the Black Samurai is actually a woman, and after failing to get the party to read her books, she charms the whole party, save Isabeau, with a group of Lilims. And it's actually hilarious. Like, basically all the guys are just like, whoa, I can't take it. You don't even have combat choices at this point. Isabeau is so mad at you. Anyway, it turns out that the books she was distributing weren't demonic or anything, they were just normal books. But the kingdom of Mikado, being so sheltered by the angels of law, wasn't able to stop its people from absorbing outside knowledge that conflicts with their lie of a society. I'm gonna try to keep this story in order, because you are revealed plot twists, like, way later that explain things before, so I'm gonna just try my best to tell it in order. What is this big lie? Well, when the Black Samurai disappears down a long vertical tunnel called Naraku, a place infested with demons, the party discovers the truth. Deep underground the kingdom of Mikado, the caves become rafters and then scaffolding, which then become technological elevators, and finally opening up into a view of the expanse below. The party believes they're looking at stars in the ground at first, before it becomes clear they're looking at lit city lights of Tokyo. This demon-infested and destroyed city clings to life with hunter humans fending off demons in a constant battle of life or death. Deep in Tokyo, the party manages to track down the Black Samurai with the intent of arresting her. We discover that the world above and the world below are mirrors of each other. The Black Samurai knows that Isabeau has been reading a manga she found in Tokyo and expresses her understanding of it by trying to spoil what happens in the next volume. And this is a real manga, by the way. People figured out which manga she was trying to spoil Isabeau with.
I love that.
And Isabeau immediately goes, la 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 la, I can't hear you. And this is all voice acted too, so it's great. She willingly lets herself be captured and returned to the surface, where she is given a chance to speak before her execution, which leads to the first of 2 quotes we led this episode with, where she tells them that they need the knowledge of the world to learn the truth, and that they will find no love from God. They remove her helmet only to be shocked that the Black Samurai looks exactly like the head nun of the church, Sister Gabby.
So I'm still like a little confused. Where is Lilith in this situation?
We're not quite there yet, but I was hoping you'd figure out that the Black Samurai is Lilith.
I mean, I assumed that.
We're not quite there yet.
She wasn't named Yuriko, so you threw me off.
She's not named Yuriko yet.
Yes.
Yeah,
I just
not named Yuriko, yeah.
I assumed it was Lilith, and then you said it was some nun, and I was like,
well, no,
okay.
She looks exactly like this nun. Like the
Oh, she looks like her,
yes,
but she is not her.
Right,
Okay.
so basically they let her have like her last thing that she can say, which was the quote at the beginning, which I think is great. And then they're furious. They take off her helmet to try and execute her quickly. Find out she looks exactly like their head nun. Basically, their pope of this super religious kingdom. And they're like, oh my god, it throws the entire kingdom into disarray. But weirdly enough, the game never goes back and it clarifies this. I try to in my script, though. This was likely just another ruse to sow distrust and panic, as she could have taken any face. Or it was due to her comments about the above and below worlds mirroring each other. You know, as above, so below, kind of thing like that. And the leader of the law, Gabby, looks exactly the same as the leader of chaos, the Black Samurai. Not only that, but she tells them that she will reincarnate as many times as she has to bring knowledge to the kingdom of Mikado. This begins to put a divide in the people of the kingdom and plants the seed of a revolution. Later on, her corpse comes back to life after a monstrous shadow looms over it, and you're once again tasked with hunting her down in Tokyo and returning her to Mikado, because it's going to work the second time. Later on, Tayama, the mafia businessman in charge of the Red Pill operation we previously discussed in the Doulahan episode, listen to that so I don't have to say it all over again, requests that the group hunt down and kill Yuriko, the leader of the Ring of Gaia. But once you find her, you realize that Yuriko was actually the Black Samurai you have been after.
That's
Finally,
we
know her name is Yuriko. But players of the first game should have already raised an eyebrow by this point by the name Yuriko. When you meet Yuriko, she reveals herself to be Lilith, working towards bringing knowledge to humans like forbidden fruit that will open their minds to becoming their true forms, demons. Humans in SMT4 are just the product of God's removal of their knowledge, and with Lilith returning it to them is transforming them back into their true selves. This is very different from how this works in SMT5, so try not to get confused.
Okay, because I was starting to go down that path,
yes,
and I was just
I knew you were.
like, my eyes were starting to go different directions. I was like, this is making no sense.
She sways Walter to join her cause, fighting for a world of freedom, and encourages you to investigate the evil corporation that Tayama is running to show that she is not the villain. After learning about the horrors that is the Red Pill production, once again, listen to the Doulahan episode, you choose to join Lilith and Walter or fight and kill her. Regardless, the way to the Yamato Perpetual Reactor is made clear, a huge device with the power to open the way to alternate worlds, but it's currently being used as a means to gather infinite electricity to power Tokyo while underground. Totally a safe idea. After this point, assuming she's alive, Lilith becomes a bit of a legend in Tokyo as the Witch of the Night set to lead the Gaians to war as the Child of Carnage. SMT4 is awesome.
You know what's weird, though? It's like, so SMT, like, 1 and the others, I feel like, are, like, weirdly unhinged in a different direction. And I feel like 4 is, like, it's almost standalone, like, it has different vibes than the other ones.
The other ones are, like, 80s crazy, and 4 is just like abstract horror.
Yeah.
So far we've seen Lilith portrayed as both a destined seductress as well as an administrator of forbidden knowledge. She is different slightly once again in SMT5 Vengeance, but she is always an agent of chaos. Which makes me feel really weird about the fact that sometimes she's neutral, but, you know, that's just because of certain games where she's not, you know, in the main story like that.
Still weird.
Before we get into the next game, it is important to establish something different about how knowledge works in SMT5.
Yes,
why Kim was confused. This time, the lore was changed so that when Yahweh ascended the throne of the Empyrean, he made sure that there would be no other gods as his equal, and so he forbade the gods from obtaining the capital K knowledge that would ascend them to godhood. Instead, with their knowledge stripped away, the gods all became lowly demons. But their knowledge became humans. And now in SMT5, a universe existing after the true demon ending of SMT3, with the creator dead, demons can now once again regain their godhood by recruiting and reuniting with their lost human knowledge, becoming Nahabinos. This information and much more is relayed to us in the introduction and during the main character's dreams through the demon Lilith. So to be clear, God has died, and so his commandment has been broken, allowing Nahabinos to once again exist like your character. Now, also to be clear, though we're talking about SMT5 Vengeance, this interaction with Lilith and everything further I'll discuss only happen if you choose to take Yoko's hand at the beginning of the game, selecting the canon of Vengeance, the new story, as opposed to the original canon of creation.
That Megami that gets Tensei.
Yeah, there's two Megamis that get Tensei in that one.
We didn't talk about the Megami getting Tensei in 4.
Yeah, it kind of
doesn't. Does it not happen?
It kind of doesn't happen. You would think it would be Isabeau, but no, depending on your route, like, you can kill Isabeau, and I felt horrible doing it in that route. It was hard. It's actually a hard boss fight for one, but like it's more emotionally hard because like you spend so much time with this character. The characters in 4 are so much better than they are in 5. Like, I was eager to kill the characters in 5 because they sucked, but in 4 I'm like I like these characters. Oh. So through your dreams, Lilith continues to enlighten you with facts about the universe to make you question the truth of what it is you should be fighting for. She speaks of the horned god, assumed to be Marduk, who slayed Tiamat and created the throne of creation. Marduk proclaimed that even if he should die, any god who sits upon the throne would be subject to governing under his rules. One of these rules is discussed by Lucifer as he consumes Yahweh's knowledge. The Mandala system. This commandment ensures that no matter what changes come about by the current god, eventually a new dot or conception will appear and allow the demons to rise up and have the ability to claim the throne. This ensures that reality is cyclical and constantly kept under rule.
So I'm a little confused by... I thought Dot was the plane that they were on. Is it actually more of like an era of existence?
It's kind of both. So, you know, in SMT3 in the beginning, if you have started it, you literally watch the world cave in on itself and become an inverted sphere. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you are playing SMT5, anywhere in a place where they say you are in Dot and you look up, you realize you are in that sphere still.
Okay.
Because at the end of SMT3, you don't create a new world. You smash God's face in, and you're like, no to all of this.
There's a reason I named him antagonist.
Yeah. So God instead is dead. There was no recreation. And instead, there is this void and an empty throne. And you're fighting through Dot, which is their new world, their new name for the conception of where you happen to be in. The conception, the name was coming from, you know, like if you take conception literally to human beings or like any creature, right? It's like the birth of a new thing. Well, that thing is now sterile. So it's called Dot.
Okay.
So getting back to the story, Lilith and the Kadishtu loathe Marduk, the horned god, for what he did to their god Tiamat, and for how he's constrained the demons of the multiverse to eternal subjugation. This and more she relays to us throughout our dreams as the story progresses, as, you know, nights go on. We first meet Lilith in person during an event at the protagonist's school where demons are attacking and killing the students. Though we fought to protect the students, Sahori and Tao, from the demon Lamu, the two are suddenly impaled through the chest simultaneously by Lilith's serpent. She mocks Lamu for his weakness and vows to use his gathered Magatsuhi from the slain students for her own purposes. As we also heard at the top of this episode, because we had multiple quotes from this character, because she is voice acted a lot.
Because she's a character more than just a demon.
Yeah, I'm glad you're finally picking up on this.
No, I knew that. I knew that.
No, I know. From here on, Lilith and the 3 other members of the Kadishtu are actively gathering Magatsuhi, the ethereal energy obtained from slain humans, in order to offer it all up in tribute to summoning their goddess once more. The next we see Lilith, it's after overcoming the other 3 members of the Kadishtu, Nama, Asheth, and Agrit, and meeting up in Shinjuku, where the 4 finally come together at once to face the Nahabino. This battle is tough, as you need to knock out Lilith to succeed, and she will keep resurrecting the other 3 after a few turns that pass with them defeated. This is also the only time that a boss demon will use its exclusive Magatsuhi skill against you. Kadishtu Entropy is the move in question, that will cast 2 heavy-level based almighty attacks to the whole party, will almost certainly charm the whole party, and heals the Kadishtu for a large amount. In one turn.
Well, that sounds unfair.
Yikes. However, once you defeat them, you can fuse these demons for yourself, and you can also unleash Kadishtu Entropy, assuming you have all 4 of the demons in your stock, and at least one of them summoned in order to execute the attack. It is devastating. Anyway, though, back to the story. This is just one of those fights where you win in the game, but you lose in the cutscene. I hate these.
Like all of Xenoblade 3, I felt like.
So you fail, and the Nahabino is used in a sacrificial summoning alongside the gathered Magatsuhi to resurrect the goddess Tiamat. Algami, the Nahabino's synthetic demon other half, sacrifices himself so that the protagonist can survive the ritual, but Tiamat's resurrection is destructive as all get out, with death laser beams killing multiple characters in one fell swoop. But that's beside the point. Lilith fuses her power with Yoko, the girl from the beginning, in order to awaken her as a new goddess. From then on, you either side with one of the two goddesses, Yoko, or the resurrected and deified Tao, because of course she was going to get Tensei'd, in order to close out the game in either a chaos or law-aligned way, respectively. So if you're chaos-aligned, you kinda end the game partnered with Lilith. See, none of her inclusions I've mentioned were small. She either holds an enormous influence over the game, or she barely registers and only appears as a regular demon as she does in SMT3. Aside from this, she has many other small instances and inclusions in other games where she briefly appears as a boss or a recruitable demon, but listing them all would be exhaustive and wouldn't teach us anything about the demon we didn't already just learn. Lilith is a colossal character, much less demon, that helps shape the game world and sometimes even orchestrates its demise. She is one of the most important ongoing characters in the series, to the extent that it would be difficult to imagine where the series would be without her chaotic machinations, be it as Yuriko, the Black Samurai, or the demon Lilith. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Oh,
Drop the mic!
I finally got through my segment.
You can forget all of that now.
Oh, I can purge this out of my brain. We got an easy one next week, but we're not done yet. Oh boy, because Kim has her lore segment and I want to hear this. It's finally time for more. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will dive into the lore of Lilith. Remember that Lilith Perler we were talking about? It's not posted just yet, but we are going to have a discount for anybody who is interested in looking to our Etsy page. Use the code Demonica10 and the link that you can find in the description of this, and there you go. Have a good old time.
Well, hey, maybe I could have done something about it had you not had me researching Lilith's entire history.
I'm sorry. So you all have this episode, and now you don't have a Lilith to purchase. It'll eventually show up on there. Let us know, actually, like what demons you would like to see on the Etsy page, if there's any. We do commissions.
Alex just wants to keep making them.
That is true. Give me an excuse.
He's out of wall space, and now
I did just run out of wall space. And we're back with more Demonica. Now, it is time to ask the question, Kim, are you ready for this?
I think so.
Who or what is Lilith?
Lilith is a demonic female figure from Jewish, Mesopotamia, and Babylonian mythologies. She is said to be Adam's first wife, created in the same soil as him. She is mother to several demons, and leaves Adam because she refuses to be subservient. Because of this, she is praised in modern-day feminist culture.
Just because she's like, I don't need a man.
Yes.
Is that what that's about? So, I wonder why this is not in the Catholic Bible.
So, yeah, you know how I keep trying to make a structure every episode?
Yes.
And they keep throwing me curveballs? Well, this time I just threw the whole structure out, and I'm like, we're just going to go in chronological order from the best of my ability.
Don't you normally start with what she looks like?
Right, which we've already gone over. Naked lady with a snake.
All right, so she's always naked lady with a snake. Does she have black hair?
That's not true, though, because
there's more to it than
okay,
that.
so we're going to talk about each iteration of her. We'll talk a little bit how she looks in that specific text.
Right,
so
and
that's
does she
why
have a ball python or a Burmese python?
That I don't know.
Naked woman with a ball python is something you'd find on Pornhub, but Burmese python, you'd probably send the SPCA, like, this is terrible. This person's about to get swallowed.
All right.
And not like that. Not like that.
No. Okay. So because of that, we're going to look at Lilith's historical context in chronological order to the best of my abilities. I'm sorry, I'm not a rabbi.
Theologist.
Rabbi in this case.
Okay.
And if I get something wrong, I guess let me know. I'll might be purging this from my brain afterwards.
It's okay. We've got housekeeping. We could try to bring it up if something goes wrong. It's, it happens.
So, Lilith was around long before the rabbinic literatures were written. Rabbinic?
What's rabbinic?
Hey, let me finish. Rabbinic referring to writings of rabbis or any biblical works.
I've never heard that word before, but okay.
It came up a lot. It is a new word for everybody. The word of the day. Rabbinic. Lilith got her humble start as a Mesopotamian vampiric storm demon. This is in approximately 3000 BCE.
Vampiric storm demon?
Yes.
That's fun.
Does this sound anything like you thought we were going to go to first?
No. This is female Zeus. What's going on?
She went by the name / species Lilith.
Oh, that's cute.
But if you could see how it's spelled, it's clear where it switches later.
It's Lilith. Lilith.
So the Lilith, whether it's a species or a name of a specific demon, I really had some hard time figuring that one out. Were unable to have sex normally, were predatory towards men through erotic dreams, unable to bear children, and carried no milk in their breasts. They were also thought to wander the deserts.
They had to attack men to try and get some sexual pleasure because they had no milk in their breasts.
I don't really know. I think they just ate men. I don't know.
Men like boobies.
And like I said, this text can be a little confusing as to where Lilith is one demon, a species of demons. But it'll all feed into Lilith, I promise. But we're going to talk about Lilith for a while.
Yeah.
We also need to understand that this documentation came from so long ago, it might not actually be what became Lilith. But modern scholars believe this is what eventually became Lilith in more rabbinic Jewish literature later on.
So it's the original source material that was going to get stolen, as everything gets stolen from something else. So it could have then been some sort of sprite or succubus-like storm monster.
Storm demon.
Yeah.
Vampiric. So it's vampiric in the sense like a succubus or an incubus.
Yeah, like a succubus is like not sucking your blood, but sucking your sexual energy or something out of you.
The Lilith was also associated with bringing disease, illness, and death.
Don't masturbate, kids.
In some texts, they also preyed upon children and women, so nobody was safe, really.
Oh. I was going to say, because are these female?
Yes.
Okay, so then you would think they would just be targeting men.
So, we'll get to it. Because there is a male counterpart to the Lilith.
I feel like this is the origin of the succubus.
Yes.
Oh my god, okay. So Lilith is kind of a deviant form of a succubus.
Kind of, but also she's like the mother of them in some weird way.
But not in any religious canon.
Yes and no, because you do see the succubus and incubus names brought up, but it's more in like scholars hypothesizing about it, I think.
Sure, but not like some rabbi's not going to tell you that a succubus, you draw a direct line. And
well,
say,
I think in some cases they would have said Lilith the succubus. I think was in some cases said like
then
that.
She could just be a high-ranking one or something like
that.
If they have tiers.
More like that.
I don't know. Do they have tiers if you go into like
I don't know. We're not even up to Lilith yet. We're at Lilith 2.
Right, Lilith 2.
In these earlier texts, we also need to understand that she was depicted with wings and talons for feet.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because in SMT5, she does get talons in her feet. And wings.
And that was my next statement on my script which is why I like the SMT Vengeance one now, because I've read that. And to further understand the Lilith 2 and how they relate to Lilith, we do need to talk a little bit more about a demon called Lamashtu. Lamashtu, which I think is in SMT. You might want to double check it.
Fact check.
I think it is.
So I was secretly hoping that Lamashtu was actually a deviant name of Lamu, who is another demon who I mentioned actually in this episode so far, who has a large role in SMT5. And no, but it doesn't matter. Lamashtu is a demon in a couple games, one of them being GMTTR.
Oh, not this again.
No, actually, it's Gaiten Megami Tensei Tokyo Moku Shiroku, I believe is how it's pronounced, and it is of the Fem race.
That sounded
It is
fake.
a boss in that. And it also appears in Rond, which I think is a Sega CD only game.
We're just going to get like some quick little updates about random demons that come throughout the story.
Really, really obscure demons.
So, Lily 2 and Lamash 2 and Lilith all kind of have an interconnected story.
Okay. Well, I can't imagine we're going to have a Lamash 2 episode anytime soon.
So, Lamash 2 like to feast on babies in human flesh.
Is that where Lilith gets it?
There were also male and female versions of Lily 2, which I had mentioned earlier. The male versions were referred to as Lilu.
Lilu.
And they were described as the whole race of Lily 2 and Lilu. See, this is where I'm thinking it's more of a species. Were described as once being human themselves and dying young. So they craved victims of husbands and wives that they could replace with themselves.
Oh, so they turn into, like, those doppelganger things that,
Like changeling kind of
Changelings,
situation.
that's kind of... So, wait a minute. Was this just, like changelings, just an excuse for bored housewives to say that their husband needs to be killed or something like that? Because he's a monster.
So, eventually, all of these mythos kind of get combined into one, and we get one demon that seduces men and women and attacks children called Lilith. So you kind of see how these all just kind of come together, and now we just get one.
Okay. Lamash 2, basically succubus and incubus, and we stir them up in a pot. We play the organ for a while. There's a lightning bolt, and then boom, we have Lilith.
Great. So, now moving forward to about approximately 2000 BCE.
1,000 years? Okay. Well, is this the 1,000 years where all that stuff is slowly amalgamating?
Well, it said that there were tablets and talking about the Lily 2 in approximately 3000 BCE. So I don't know. We don't have an exact date. It could be somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to trace something back that far. That's really freaking old.
Okay, so now it's going to be Lily 2 still for this, because this is an old text from approximately 2000 BCE. Mm-hmm. And she appears in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which, if you've ever seen the tablets, I just gotta say, the tablets for the Epic of Gilgamesh, I have no idea how they translated anything out of that, or even read it. It's like scratchings on a rock. I have no idea.
I feel like they would have needed AI in order to figure out some of that stuff. And then the AI might be flubbing it and just like guessing or something. I have no idea.
It's insane. So if there's mistranslations or things have changed, I get it.
It's written. I was wondering, like, how are you even getting this kind of information from something 5,000 years old?
Okay, you just type it in. Have you seen
I've seen
the tablets of Gilgamesh? Those aren't words!
Yeah, they're just freaking lines. I'm looking at it now. I have no idea how anybody got anything out of those.
So this is our story for the day. And the story goes, Inanna, also known as Ishtar.
Ah, yeah. Both are demons in SMT.
Separate demons?
They are separate demons. Well, they can split. So, for instance, my little quick story time. If you're at the very end of SMT5, I believe in any of the endings, you can talk to Maria, who is the Catholic Christian Mary. And I love her design in this game. But when you talk to her, she detects your alignment and morphs into a different iteration of herself and how she will turn into another mother goddess and fight you based on your alignment. And two of those choices are Inanna and...
Ishtar.
Oh, no, not Ishtar.
Oh.
But Inanna is one of them. I was getting ahead of myself. So Danu is the other one that you can do. So Ishtar is also a boss in SMT5. She's also a boss in SMT2.
Okay.
So Ishtar also has a lot of...
Ishtar and Inanna are the same goddess, is what I'm saying.
Okay. See, in my head, I was like, oh, yeah, both of those are in SMT5 because they were, and I was mixing up the wrong two in my head, so never mind. But Inanna is there. She's the one with the giant boobs everywhere.
Inanna is Ishtar.
Ishtar does not have giant boobs.
I love Ishtar's design. I do. But
she's got a sprite in SMT2.
I'm just... So now I'm really confused.
Of it in the Ishtar fans.
Are there games where both are appearing? Because like I said, they're the same goddess.
5.
That doesn't make sense.
Phase 5 and Vengeance. You can have both of them.
Anyway, we know that Ishtar is the goddess of love, war, and fertility.
Yep.
I am going to continue to refer to her as Inanna because that's how she is referred to in this text.
That's a different goddess. I don't know. That boss is a lot easier to kill. She's weak to like pretty much everything.
So Inanna takes a willow tree called the Hulupu tree.
The who gon' poo tree? You gon' poo tree.
We're never going to get through this if you're going to interrupt me every 5 words.
You eat the berries and it gives you diarrhea. I'm sorry, it was a funny name.
She takes the tree to her garden to grow and eventually wants to turn it into her throne. At this time, Inanna is also a very young goddess and hasn't come into her powers yet.
I'm going to mentally imagine every time you say Inanna, you mean Ishtar, because me imagining that demon instead of Inanna, if you know what Inanna looks like in 5, I don't want to think about that chicken-legged booby bird.
Well, this is why I asked you if you wanted me to switch it to the names we would be more comfortable with.
Let's go with Ishtar.
Lilith takes up residence in the tree, along with a zoo demon, aka Anzu, and a serpent. Or a dragon. I've seen both written for this Epic of Gilgamesh on scribbly lines.
Yeah, different translations, people trying to figure out what it says, or different tablet pieces?
No, different translations. So, Lilith also wanted to seduce Inanna herself. Lilith was considered a most beautiful and irresistible being, and mentioning that Inanna was a young goddess at the time, she seemed like a very easy target for Lilith to influence. Now, see, in this story, Lilith sounds more like, to me, one particular demon.
Yes, she
versus
sounds
like a race of demons.
Right.
Like
so
what
it
the
might
older
have
things did.
changed this.
Oh, 1,000 years. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it was almost certainly oral tradition, and I can only imagine that this is like one of the first writings.
Inanna becomes upset because Lilith has the ability to kill all living plants she touches as she is living inside this Hulupu tree.
I wonder if that's why in 5 she's holding a black and gold lily, if it's dead, or she kills it when she touches it.
I don't know.
I was wondering about that flower. I was kind of hoping you would bring something up like, oh, that's why she's holding this flower, because she never holds a flower in any other design.
Well, I mean, this is kind of the only thing I've had with plants dealing with her, is that the Lilith version of her can kill plants instantly by touching them. So Inanna gets her brother. In this instance, her brother is Gilgamesh.
Okay.
To take care of the problem. So he kills the serpent and or dragon, and I said Anzu earlier. I think it's Anzu.
And we've always been saying Anzu, which
I think it's Anzu. I looked it up.
Okay.
So my apologies. I think it's Anzu. So he knocks them out. And once the serpent is... Okay, so here's where we get the 2 different variants that might influence how the story ends. So if it's a serpent, once the serpent is dead, Lilith has no choice but to flee and destroy her home, the tree, because the serpent is considered her link to the earthly world.
Okay.
But like I said, in other versions, it's a dragon, not a serpent, which has no relationship to the Lilith that I understand, other than that they all just lived in this tree together.
I was expecting Gilgamesh to have to go to some sort of war to, fight the dragon or something like that.
No, so he kills the serpent dragon, he kills Anzu, and Lilith ends up destroying the tree and fleeing. And that's really where that story ends.
What was the point?
It's just look at it. How did they even get that from that tablet?
Sure. Well, there's clearly a lot of pieces missing, so you think this was just like a segment, a snip, and we don't have the rest of it?
Maybe. I mean, I didn't read the rest of the Epic of Gilgamesh because there's a ton of it, but... Mm-hmm. So now we're going to jump forward a little bit more in her next major role in Jewish, Hebrew, and Babylonian culture. There is a stone tablet from approximately 8 BC.
8! Oh, look, that's only 2,000 years old.
It's believed that this would have been an amulet to ward against Lilith. And this is where we start seeing the name Lilith. Not Lilith, we're seeing Lilith.
That's a huge time jump, though.
It's a huge time jump.
It's a lot we're missing.
So the amulet would be to ward against Lilith while a woman was pregnant. It was believed that if Lilith was recognized as the culprit, she would flee.
This is so weird. Like, everything we've seen from this old stuff, Lilith is primarily targeting women or kids. Mm-hmm. What's going on?
I mean, the Lily to the first instance of them, they are targeting, like, men. So on the text of this tablet, one of them said, "O you who fly in darkened rooms, be off with you this instant, Lilith, thief, breaker of bones." Scholars believed that Lilith was used as a way to help people cope with the fear of major milestones in a woman's life, essentially blaming bad things on her, like if there was a loss of pregnancy or infertility or anything like that, they could blame it on Lilith. Now, these tablets will come up again here in a bit, and it comes more in the later Jewish culture of them trying to explain why these tablets were around and how they were expected to ward off Lilith. Lilith also appears in a list of evil spirits at this time, is referred to as both male and female Liliths. So now we're plural again, as like a species. Right. And they were associated with haunting people's dreams at night and visions during the day. And this is when Lilith becomes associated with the incubus and succubus.
Again, kind of.
At nighttime.
Or they come into being.
This is more like when they come into being and they get linked together. These Lilith are described as seducing women and men and changing form to suit their needs, which is what the incubus and succubus do. So I know a little bit more about this, and it sounds weird because they are two very separate demons in the game, but in the incubus and succubus lore, it is technically one being that can change its appearance. It switches
shape.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be able to switch its shape, especially when an incubus goes to China, it gets its penis cut off.
He's talking about that Persona X game.
Yeah, the Persona X censorship. We haven't covered him yet, but yeah, he gets his penis cut off, and it's... Oh my god.
So these Liliths attack them sexually at night and during the day during their sleep. Sexually attacking people, like an incubus or a succubus.
And people want to ward this off.
Yes.
Why?
Because they'll die.
Why will you die?
But also, like, Liliths were still being blamed for child loss and death during birth and things like that.
It just seems kind of weird that, like, they... half of it sounds like a good thing. Like, why would a guy be upset about that? Because he'll be infertile after that point?
Because he'll die.
Why will he die?
Because they're sucking the life force out of them.
Okay.
Do you know nothing about the incubus and succubus culture? Like,
no, I don't. So it seems like they're blaming people who are like, oh, keep this person out of your hut at night because they could be an incubus or a succubus.
Sure.
And blaming that person for why their marriage fell apart or why they got sick. You know, not understanding how transmitted diseases work.
Yeah,
maybe?
It was a lot more of just kind of like what I was seeing was mostly her relationship to women and their like fertile age and dealing with those kinds of losses. It was more related to that kind of illness and sickness and death. So
so it's just Lilith's whole existence that causes pregnancy, morning sickness, and she causes the bleeding for periods.
Oh yeah, there were some other things related, like I found some weird things in the Jewish text, but it was like a horrible thing if you had like sex on your period was also, you would be considered a bastard in that sense as well.
What?
There is a long list. It was just like weird things I was finding in these Jewish texts. So
that doesn't make any sense.
There's also another text that comes around at the same time that describes Lilith as eating children. So
yeah, we kind of glossed over that earlier, which is not something you can casually gloss over, but I don't want to do it twice. So explain.
That's all I got. She just eats children.
Oh.
We'll get to it more in like the Jewish sense, but like back then there wasn't too much to it other than...
Why is there a Jewish sense of eating children?
Because right now I'm not talking specifically about the Jewish texts. I'm talking about the tablets and the texts that were found in Mesopotamia.
Okay, sure. But
in Babylon.
Like, the rest of the stuff I could reason my way around. Are people waking up and finding bite marks in their kids?
No, their kids are just gone or dead, I guess. We'll get to something weird.
Maybe animals.
Later.
Maybe animals.
Maybe animals. I don't know. Okay. So that's not great. Eating children.
No.
Still not good. So I'm gonna, before I completely move out of the Mesopotamia era things, I want to talk about the Kadishtu, because that's a Mesopotamian word.
Really? Okay. All I know is from the lore in the descriptions say that it is from the Zohar, which, to me, playing lots of Xeno games, Xenoblade, Xenosaga, Xenogears, means that big golden tablet thing.
It means like infinite knowledge, almost.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a little unclear to the meaning of the word Kadishtu. Older scholars used to interpret Kadishtu as sacred prostitution.
Yeah.
But now it's understood that they were priestesses to certain goddesses in Mesopotamia.
Oh, okay, because I think in SMT5, each of them says they're one of the sacred prostitutes.
So scholars have only recently changed their mind about this, like within the last 20 or 30 years.
Oh.
So this is like a newer concept. So now it's like almost like, oh, well, it's kind of wrong the way that they're using the name Kadishtu. So Kadishtu women would often perform fertility ceremonies for women and were often associated with fertility.
That sounds like an orgy.
They were priestesses helping people to try to get pregnant.
Yeah.
That is not an orgy.
And now I'm imagining the wrong kind of fertility.
In most cases, the Kadishtu took on roles of midwives and wet nurses, someone that would be with you from birth.
Okay. That's much more benevolent than what happened in the game.
Given that it said Kadishtu women in Babylonia were told that they were given to a goddess, they had to wear a veil until they were married, so they were allowed to marry, but they were forbidden from having children themselves.
Or else what?
I have no idea.
So soupy. What, is someone gonna follow them for the rest of their lives and enforce this?
I don't know. It was really hard to find information on the Kadishtu because of how scholars have changed how they view the writings about Kadishtu women. Because before they were like,
That sounds very different from a
sex
sacred...
prostitutes.
Yeah, sacred prostitutes.
And then they were like, no, they were priestesses.
Priestess prostitutes. Let's meet them halfway.
Like, I think they were using the word prostitutes in meaning more like devotion to one thing. Because I feel like I've heard the word prostitute used in that way before. But maybe not.
No.
No? Okay, never mind.
Though that sounds like a very interesting church.
Now, I know we're talking about Lilith today, but we are going to touch on all of the Kadishtu a little bit as they appear in the Jewish Zohar text.
Okay.
Just pretty much just going to mention their names.
Yes,
But
I'm curious because you said it like, oh, these are basically priestesses. However, this sounds like there could have been any number of them. And
right, so that's why I'm
But there's some by name.
I feel like Atlas is misusing the term Kadishtu.
Okay, or, well, they kind of reinterpret things all the time. Like we just said Ishtar and Inanna are their own separate things, but sometimes they merge things together for the sake of the story or for linking stuff together.
So now we go from, what was I at, 8 BC to approximately 8 to 11 AD.
That's not very far.
That's not as far. When the alphabet of Ben Sira is written, it's a medieval text written anonymously. It's a collection of proverbs and tales. This is where we get the first mention of Lilith being Adam's first wife. It's said that from the dirt, God created Adam and then Lilith. So this is great. Do you know, this is not your pop quiz, but I want to know if you know
Okay.
what the disagreement was between Lilith and Adam.
Adam was disappointed that Lilith had too many subscription services and they couldn't afford them all at the same time. And he's like, but there's nothing to watch on Netflix. And she's like, I've been watching my shows. Don't judge me. And he's like, but I bring in the money. And she's like, that's not the point. You're supposed to love me. And it just kind of spiraled out of there. So, snowballs, it was something stupid, and they could have worked it out, but they chose not to because they're very different people.
You're going to love it then, because, yeah. Well, apparently they couldn't agree to who would be on top during intercourse.
Oh my god! It's so stupid! Wait, does that... Because that person does all the work?
No, it's more of a subservience thing. So if the man's on top, yeah, so.
So it's the opposite.
Lilith had argued that they are both equals. She then produced God's name and flew into the air and then tries to have sex with all the angels.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Lilith, there's other solutions. Let's not get rash here.
Adam begged God to bring her back, so he sent 3 angels to go retrieve her. Lilith said she would not return to her husband as she claims that she has had sex with the great demon. He's not named at this point, just know that.
The great demon. Well, there are many, so...
Lilith begins to see herself as demonic after this. She had told the angels that she was created to kill newborns and that she had dominion over men until their circumcisions.
There's only one man right now. And I am assuming he was created circumcised because it's a Catholic story.
Well, this is a Jewish story.
It's a Jewish story, so he should not be.
I don't think that happens until, like, Abraham anyway, right?
I don't really know the history of penises.
Things you never thought you would say. The angels agreed that they would not force her to go back to Adam as long as she leaves the newborns alone. She agrees to leave them if they had amulets with the angels' inscriptions and her name on them.
This sounds like almost like they're just trying to reference old stories and validate
them.
So
this is just to validate all of these amulets and tablets they were finding. Which brings me to the Kabbalah and the Zohar. Now, I didn't understand this when I started, and this is where I get real mixed up with researching, is the Zohar is inside the Kabbalah.
Oh, okay. I wanted to backpedal a little bit. Okay. That's the end of that story?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, then she just goes and has sex with all the demons.
She just has sex with lots of demons. And
yeah, so, like, really, in this alphabet of Ben Sira, that's all there is to it. There's really no more mention of Lilith after that.
So Adam complains that he got gypped on his first wife, and wants one that's better. God says,
Lilith
all right.
Is arguing, we are made from the same soil and we are equal.
Yeah.
And he is like, no, beepity beep beep beep. You're on the bottom.
I'm a male. Get on the bottom. There's other positions they could have worked this out. I'm just saying.
I think she saw some strange and wanted that.
She's, you know what? That's fine. Good for her. Independent. Honestly, if you got a guy who's like that, you're like, no, you always lay down and be under me because I am the big gorilla man.
I just always imagine Adam as this weak, scrawny white man with, like, no muscles. Okay, we're moving on to the Kabbalah now.
All right, yeah, now you can go to the Kabbalah. I was just curious. Like, it sounded like that story was, like, just getting started. So, like, that's the point where the Bible picks up and they're like, oh, yeah, so there was a first woman and all, but... Anyway, so God pulls out one of Adam's ribs. So, therefore, woman has to be subservient to him.
Exactly.
Because she's made out of him. Let's not talk about what happened the first time.
Yes.
But still, that's not much better. That's them trying to write into the story saying that all women are demons and hellspawns and succubus and eat children.
It's a whole thing. So, the Kabbalah was penned in 1200 AD. So, we're going like 1,000 years in the future again. And Lilith becomes the advisor to the archangel/demon Samael.
Samael.
This is when we find out that the great demon she referred to is Samael.
Samael, yes. He has a very important role, actually, in a bit that I didn't mention in SMT5. You actually are sent on a quest to defeat Samael by Mastema, who can summon all 4 of the Kadishtu to fight against you. Mm-hmm. And so Lilith is in that fight as well.
So, because when I was starting to cross-reference multiple articles, it was mixing up Samael with Lucifer and Satan and using them interchangeably, and
that's confusing.
They would say backslash. So, from my understanding, the Jewish text makes them separate things, and Samael is different than Lucifer and different than Satan.
Yeah, I would feel like there wouldn't be alternate names in...
It's Catholicism that's messing it all up.
Well, because Catholicism is stealing from other stuff, so it's not really worried about that. It's trying to amalgamate things and take a bunch of names and make it look like it's the justified, corrected version of all these ancient mythologies.
So, Samael is considered the demon that convinced the serpent in the Garden of Eden to tempt Adam and Eve. But in some texts, Lilith is the snake that tempted them. Others say she made the snake tempt them.
Yeah, from what I remember, sometimes it is just a snake. Sometimes it's called the devil, or like the snake is the devil.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, but what is the devil?
But it's mostly like, when it all comes down to it, it's Samael who caused the snake to do this thing.
Right. Samael has a really cool design in SMT, by the way. Have you seen him?
I was looking at some, but I really only saw like snake with wings. I didn't see.
Oh, he's a red snake with lots of wings.
The Kabbalah goes on to explain just how evil the two are, Lilith and Samael, and that because of the first sin, they're like extra powerful now. Which leads us to our next big Jewish text. In the Kabbalah, we have the Zohar. This is when Lilith becomes more of a figure we know today. She begins seducing men to use their seed to create bodies for her demonic children.
That's a normal thing to do.
It's important to note that in the Kabbalah /Zohar, that Lilith's origin story with Adam was once again reiterated. So,
okay.
That whole story we had just talked about with Adam being awful is also in the Zohar.
Excellent. Because I'm still on the fact that she's just like farming men for their semen and going like, ha ha, I got your semen. And the guys are probably like, you can take it. And she's like, well, now I'm going to make a demonic army of children. It's fine. Come again.
But you also need to understand all of like the rabbis at this time are like, you are cursed now. You're awful, and like shipping these men out.
And the men are shipping themselves with Lilith.
In the Zohar, another part is added to the story of Adam and Lilith, and it's that Adam was animated and filled with God's light before the evil spirits could use his body, and that before he could animate Lilith, Lucifer animated her body.
Why did he make Lucifer first? Well, he made all the angels.
Yeah, the angels are already here because Lilith already tried to go and F those things.
And she did.
It is in the Zohar now that we meet Nama, mother of demons and sister of Cain.
Okay.
Isheth?
Asheth,
wife of harlotry.
You're married to harlotry?
I don't know. That's
ironic.
Just what it is.
Just what?
In Agrit.
That is such an oxymoron. I'm married to harlotry.
That's one of the titles, and then like her other title was like Demoness of Horsens or something like that.
Okay. Sure.
In Agrit, Queen of Demons. They're all demons who serve directly under Samael, as we've kind of mentioned, and report to Lilith, and together the four of them are the angels of the sacred prostitution. It was written in there that that's the case, but they never use the word Kadishtu in the Zohar, from my understanding.
Well, they call them the sacred prostitutes, though. SMT5 says both.
Okay. I just feel like they're getting them real mixed up, and they don't need to be. But this brings me to my pop quiz and my last random fact about Lilith.
I'm ready.
In some texts, Lilith was said to be infertile.
What?
Yeah. But at one point, it was said that she lay by the Red Sea and gave birth to how many demons? Casually laying by the sea, by the way, giving birth to demons. I have A, 2, B, 1200, or C, 100.
You would not have put 2 as an option, and if it weren't the correct one, I'm gonna say you probably would have 1200.
No, 100.
Okay.
She casually gave birth to 100 demons by the Red Sea.
Why was 2 an option? It threw me off so much.
That's why.
Tricked me.
But her most popular child is Lilith.
Right, okay. It's her favorite.
I guess. Out of her 100-something. I don't know if there were more after that or she just was done popping them out.
Lilith is commonly used for
like
a special fusion to make Lilith.
It was some kind of like war happening and she was like, I need more demons.
Time to go back to the sperm pile of all them men that I slept with. Where that snake at?
So this was a lot of information, and I just barely scratched the surface of Lilith's lore. I did my best to get the big main highlights, but I think to truly do more justice for Lilith, you need to do like a whole podcast on her.
That's insane.
There's so many stories. I briefly read some story where the sacred prostitutes go to seduce King Solomon. I think that's a story.
King Solomon is in it with so many angels and demons.
Oh, man.
It's insane.
I know. It's crazy. In modern day, Lilith is a figure of strength for feminists. She defies God, and she's very popular power to call upon in the practice of Wicca as well. So she's still used today in many modern paganistic practices.
My sister's a big fan of her. Like I said, she named her cat after her.
I didn't fully look into it because I was getting really confused, but she's closely tied to the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. I tried to look at it. I was getting confused, and I apologize anybody who's Jewish because I think Yom Kippur is like one of those bigger holidays.
This is, yeah. I feel like you understood you were getting into the weeds at this point.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm out. I'm backing out. So I've always liked the idea of Lilith being a symbol for female empowerment, but if you look through the lore, she is truly something to be feared by all.
Yeah, she
no
sounds
matter
like a monster.
Race or gender. I think a lot of the modern day interpretations are just looking at the small part of the picture of who she is. But let's move on to more fun part of where Lilith makes appearances in modern day.
Yeah.
Okay, at least in video games, because she's everywhere.
Yeah, in the hit erotic horror film from 1990.
Lilith is in so many video games. I only named a few because we were going to just be here forever if I was just naming every single pop culture reference that Lilith now has. She is in Darksiders, Darkstalkers, Borderlands, Diablo, Final Fantasy, Devil May Cry, Digimon,
Lilithmon,
and Castlevania.
Yeah.
So basically anywhere that a demon shows up, probably a Lilith. And of course she makes tons of appearances in TV, movies, and books, and well, I am burnt out now, so just take it away.
Oh my gosh. Unceremoniously end this. Like, I can't take it anymore. So we can cover the other Kadishtu in an episode of their own if we get to that point.
Which then I'm hoping I can...
Nama, Asheth, and Egret.
Which I'm hoping then I can do this story of prostitution with King Solomon.
Well, yeah, especially if they have less to say than Lilith, which I assume they would.
Right, which was my case. I was thinking, I don't really want to have this for Lilith's episode. I think I could use it for one of the other Kadishtu's episode.
Right, because this is already a really long one, as you all probably expected, just looking at the timestamp, because we obviously don't have a timestamp when we're starting. We just know that our script is really long this time, and it could have been longer. I cut mine down, and it sounds like you cut yours down as well.
I cut mine down significantly, yes. But did you have any final thoughts about Lilith in general, about now knowing her lore and knowing so much about the games?
I was expecting more of her doing the tempting of the forbidden fruit of knowledge kind of thing. Now, I know that's her big story in the Bible, sort of, kind of.
In the alphabet of Ben Sira. Well, no, in the Kabbalah. Old Testament, I don't know.
Like, I assume that's why she was always with a snake, because that is the snake from the Garden of Eden.
Right, but we also see that, like, in those old Lilith tablets, that the serpent is some way her connection to the earthly realm, this demon.
Oh, so it, like, that's why it, like, levitates or floats around.
There's also that, and then there's also this Garden of Eden thing. So that could have transformed into the Garden of Eden serpent situation.
Because I assumed with the Garden of Eden story, which we didn't cover in here, so if you're not familiar, Adam and Eve, the woman who is his second...
And Adam was there, yes.
Yeah, and Adam was there while she is plucking this fruit and deciding to eat it. She was tempted... Once again, it was a woman who she went to go tempt by whoever this serpent was, the devil, but sent with by Lilith. It could have been Samael, it could have been Lucifer. Who the heck knows?
Could have been Lilith. I don't know.
If it was Satan, that'd have been so devious because that's God's like direct hand.
I know.
You know, like he did it on purpose.
It's either Lilith or Samael. I don't think it's Lucifer.
Right. I agree, and I kind of feel like it's supposed to be Lilith, but I'm not sure. It makes more sense, I think, for SMT if it's Lilith.
Yeah.
But so the serpent is coming out of this tree. This is like the only thing in the Garden of Eden that they are supposedly, like, they could do anything they want anywhere in the world. They just cannot eat the fruit out of this tree. And like the beginning quote, Adam wants the fruit because it's forbidden. He doesn't just want the fruit. So of course he's going to try it. And he tries it. Of course
he's going to eat the Tide Pods.
Yeah, he eats the Tide Pods because that's what he saw his second wife just doing. Moron. Just standing there watching her doing like this thing. Like, if it was Lilith, it had to have been a different form anyway. It had to have been a demonic
And it was
form.
because of that whole sin, that first sin, which is what that's called, by the way.
Yeah.
That is technically the first sin. that it gave the demons significantly more power than what they would have had. And there are in some texts that said eventually God will wash the earth and get rid of Lilith and all of her children.
And we're still waiting on that.
Still waiting on that. They're still there. Did you end up, like, after we just talked about, I know I kind of already wrapped it up, but I was just interested if there was a design now that you favor over the other after we were talking about it.
Well, I really like the designs from 4 and 5. They're fulfilling very different roles. Like I said, the one from 5 is supposed to match the rest of the Kadishtu, and I think that moving forward is probably the one that they should stick with, just as Lilith. I think it just looks really good. But at the same time, as a monstrosity, like if Lilith is going to transform into a monster and turn into a boss fight, it needs to be what she turned into in 4. I think they should keep that going forward. Even put it in 3D. I want to see that thing move with black tendrils going everywhere and teeth gnashing.
I don't know. It's just she's never depicted as that. The closest you get with the Lily too when you have wings and talons, but she still has a human, feminine body.
Sure, but it just like screams demonic and will eat babies. You know, like that's the thing.
I know. And that's where I think a lot of the feminist culture gets like a little mixed up because they're like, they just see this woman who's defying God and who's not being subservient.
Yeah.
And they're not seeing the baby eater.
Yeah.
Also, if you figure... I took it out, but there's this part with
Nama?
With Nama and Lilith. Oh, they eating babies all the time.
I can see that. Nama is kind of messed up. She enjoys killing people.
Actually, I think all 4 of them like eating babies, but that's another thing.
You know, I can see that, too. Yeah, they're all kind of crazy.
Yeah, babies. If the baby's not demonic, they're going to eat it. That's what the story is.
Just saying, the design from 4, I think, is totally psycho and is like the demon monster. Because you were describing more of a monster than I was expecting. I was expecting just the most evil thing that she did is basically hand out forbidden fruit and just like, hey, this conveniently lets you have the same knowledge that God has, and he doesn't want you to have that. She just,
wages war on God all the time, too. Like, she is constantly trying to knock out these angels. And, like,
even she slept with the angels and now she's trying to take over?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't sleep with her, so...
Oh, they wouldn't?
No.
Well, that's not nice.
I know, right? So she was like, that's Sam Mayall over there? Seems pretty tasty.
I mean, have you seen what she looks like?
I'm not sure where that was going.
I don't know, because it completely depends on what she looks like in either game. If you saw her in 4, it'd be like, oh my god. No thanks. Well, her monster form in 4, she just looks like a normal person if you're looking at Yuriko. Do you have a different impression of Lilith at the end of all this?
I mean, yeah, because I tried to write down my first impressions before doing the research, so I'm not, like, influenced by it. And I'm
That's
like,
good.
I do like her being this feminist symbolic symbol now, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if you go back far enough in the lore, I love just seeing the evolution of lore, how this was just like a demon written on tablets, and it's now part of the Jewish faith of now today.
Like, people made talismans to ward this monster away from themselves, and now women are welcoming her.
Right.
Yeah,
like, I'm seeing that side of it, and I feel like it's just people aren't as informed anymore. So
I don't know if it's informed. It's all just like, it's not real, you know? So it's just like figuring out, like, if it's helping people get empowered, then good on them.
I mean, they're Wicca. They might be using it to cause curses.
That's true. They could be dead serious, and they probably are. Anyway, we finally did it. Be sure to tune into the next episode where we will summon a new demon that begins with the letter M.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank goodness Lilith is over. Let us know your favorite demon that begins with M and what you thought of this monstrous episode. We would love to hear from you. You can find me online at HamsterBomb on YouTube, where I host a long list of Let's Plays, reviews, and live streams. And thank you all so much for listening. Take care not to let the demons possess you while you're asleep, or steal your semen.
Or eat your babies.
And we will see you all in the next episode. See ya.
Bye-bye.